Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Cal National Awards Presentation Ceremony. The awards presentations will commence in about half an hour, so in the meantime, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the series of videos that we've put together for your viewing and listening entertainment. The awards start getting handed out in about 26 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy this video that we put together with some of our city's leaders.
Paul Vergadamo, I'm the City Administrator for City of Conroe. Been with Conroe 24 years, been City Administrator for almost 11.
Hi, my name is Frank Robinson. I'm the Downtown Manager for the City of Conroe.
Hey, my name is Jody Chikoski. I'm the Mayor of Miracle City, Conroe, Texas. And we're here with the Conroe Art League for the mural competition. And it's a beautiful day here to be in Conroe.
Have worked over my 24 years, specifically in the downtown area, trying to promote the arts, not only the performing, but also the visual arts.
I was a city manager. My last assignment was in California, town of Apple Valley, the home of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. I spent 9 years there, and prior to that was the Chief Executive Officer or President for the Woodlands Township. And I did retire, came back to my home roots, And my wife and I were talking one day, and she said, you know, I don't think this retirement thing is working for you. What she meant was it's not working for her. So the story I like to tell is that I've known the city manager, Paul Vergadamo, for 25 years, and the city has launched a whole new campaign to revitalize downtown. They adopted a downtown Conroe development plan, which has a number of really interesting project aspects to it, and they wanted someone to manage that. So he called and he said, hey, would you be interested in coming to the work for the city, and would you help us manage this project? And my wife accepted the offer.
That's exciting, that especially when you take what they're working on and display it in City Hall or one of the city offices or one of the county buildings. It just says a lot for what's going on in the community and the commitment that this group here has to Conroe and Montgomery County.
It's been fantastic. I have so much confidence in the city council and the city administration that they really are going to move forward with these projects. We've already seen evidence of that in a big way with their capital budgets and the way they're funding projects, and there's just so much happening in downtown Conroe right now.
You know, I think the arts, the greater Conroe arts organizations here in Conroe, and considering the Art League, and it's really the jewel of our community. I mean, what is the arts and the Crichton and the Owen theaters here are based on, and we have been working on building a performing arts venue to really house everyone in our Greater Conroe Arts Alliance, including amenities for the Conroe Art League. So this is really definitely the fruit of the labors here.
Yes, I mean that, and I told them we want first shot at it to find a place in City Hall or one of our buildings for it.
Teaching art to our youth and our kids is now more important than ever in society in general. Anytime they can use their creative minds and attach that to their creative hands, it's a beautiful thing.
You've got 2 live theaters downtown here. Not a lot of towns our size have 2 live theaters. You've got the Crichton and the Owen. You've got this building here, the Conroe Art League, and what they do here. There's plenty of visual arts to go around for everybody.
Well, the arts are hugely important, and if you look at Conroe and its history and how it evolved from the 1800s forward, Conroe became the cultural arts center of Montgomery County. You see it in live music, you see it in performing arts, you see it in visual arts. It is a very, very real component of our success and our legacy here. And with our historical preservation, our bent towards history, and all that we do here, it's everything. Whether it be the visual or the performing, art and culture are big in Conroe.
You know, what better area? I mean, you're surrounded by lakes and forests and rivers, and the rich history of Conroe, from the timber community that it once was, and the rail town, and George Strait, as you know, hit oil here in the 1930s and 40s, and created just a plethora of fine architecture that's left over from that period. Now we are a suburb of Houston, and it's moving this way, so it's a great place where the new meets the old, and rich in history and culture. No, I wish I was. I like art, but I'm not an artist.
No, I'm a lover of artists and a lover of art, and I wish I had that type of talent. But I suppose you could say, in a way, yeah, if we can appreciate it and embrace it and be passionate about it, then perhaps we are artists in our own right.
Yes, if you would like to feast your eyes and feed your soul, please come join us out here at the Conroe Art League. This is a jewel of our community, and we look forward to sharing it with you. Thank you.
In just 20 minutes, the awards will start to be handed out. In the meantime, here's a video of renowned artist Vicki McMillan Hayes, who was an integral part of our recent Mural Day.
Yep, my name's Vicki Hayes, and I'm part of the Cal National. And I was invited as a Texas Commission on the Arts roster artist to participate with a collaborative piece for the community. And we have people coming in the art gallery. Right now, there's at least 4 workshops coming in with kids and adults. We have between 8 to 12 people painting at one time on the piece. It is an 8-foot by 4-foot piece and is historical in nature. Some of the most important things about Conroe that makes Conroe unique and special. So we're doing a piece that's with acrylics and layering and having a wonderful time together, just talking. And it's so wonderful to get out and talk to people with COVID being, throughout our nation. And it's a blessing to be able to spend time with other people and paint and create. What we're doing is we're donating the piece to Conroe, and it's going to be hanging in one of the prominent buildings here downtown for all to enjoy and see. There's multiple pieces actually in town. Many of the judges actually have many of these collaborative pieces hanging in their chambers too as well. So it's a neat piece to be able to contribute to the community on a collaborative piece and then have it hanging for others to see and enjoy. Wow, especially with this being the Cal National, it's just extremely important because I feel like that in our society, the arts are slowly being taken out of the school system. And so the community at large and having an institution like the Conroe Art League and being able to have a place for people to come and take art classes and to learn about the arts and to give back to the community. We all desire and hunger for a way to be creative and to share those creative, what we've learned and how we've grown and express ourselves. And it's so important to be able to share who we are through the arts and creativity.
Only 17 minutes till the awards start getting handed out. In the meantime, here's an artist spotlight video on one of our featured artists, Juan Cantaveo.
Okay, my name is Juan Cantavella. I'm an artist and an art teacher. And this is what I do. I love to paint and I love to teach. I love to tell other people what I learned the hard way because I'm self-taught. So I like to teach it the easy way to others. I was 15 years old when I realized that I could paint and I wanted to paint. But art school wasn't an option for me in that time. My father didn't want me to paint. He said, artists don't make money, be somebody, you need to study. And he fight with me because I was losing time painting and drawings, and he wanted me to study other stuff, which I wasn't very good at it. But that's what I have to do. So I study architecture, and I got my degree in architecture, and I work my whole life, but always I said, okay, maybe one day I'm gonna paint. So I started painting when I retired. I had an experience that were a big impact in me when I was about 19, 20 years old. I have the privilege to visit the studio of a very famous painter in that time in Venezuela. He was the guy that painted the president and all the important things. And he just died. But his widow somehow kept his studio open. And I went to visit, and I had the privilege to see one unfinished paint of the president in Venezuela, which it was a huge impact for me. It was a life-size painting. And that lady was so good to me that she gave me a big bag of paints and brushes and stuff of him, which I treasured for many, many years. But, you know, since then, I said, this is what I want to do. Well, honestly, what happened is that I moved from California to Texas, to Magnolia. And as soon as I get here, I start looking for a group of artists. And this is a wonderful place, you know, the wonderful gallery and very nice space to teach. And that's what brought me here. So I start, you know, first showing some of my work in the gallery here. And after a while, I start teaching here. But young people, I have some students, you know, that started with me very young, and now they are in college studying art, and they still call me once in a while to have an advice. How many hours or years take, for example, an athlete and a sportsman, you know, everything is practice, everything is hard work until you get at the level you want to be. So for young artists, you know, just practice, practice, practice. And for older too, you know, I feel always a challenge. Always is a challenge. Always is trying to get further, to do better, to achieve something that I didn't achieve before. And sometimes I succeed, sometimes I have big frustrations because I don't. So, but my feeling is I feel relaxed, I feel happy, I feel that I'm doing what I really, really like. And as I said, painting is a learning process, a non-ending learning process. I will recommend everybody to be a member of Conroe Art League and, you know, make this group bigger and bigger and better and better.
It's less than 12 minutes to the beginning of the awards presentation, so here's a sneak peek of your Master of Ceremonies and Cal President, Ken Roy.
Hello, I am Ken Roy, the president of the Conroe Art League. We are in the courtyard today while a lot of work goes on inside the gallery. There's a huge group of people, and they've been here since 10:30, and I think they go until about 5:30 or 6, painting this beautiful mural, a collaborative mural, under the direction of Vicki McMillan Hayes, a well-known wildlife artist and muralist. So the point of the mural is it's a collaborative project. We got a grant for this mural from the National Endowment of the Arts. So we're going to have a group effort. We've had adults, we're going to have students, teens, kids. We're going to have some city officials that have already come, and more may yet come this afternoon. When this mural is finished, we're going to donate it to the city of Conroe. Well, the national show, and this is the Cal National 21, that's a national show where we put out a call for entry across the country, and we've had 34, about 50 plus artists from 34 states respond. 60 plus pieces are hanging on the wall now. So the show is an annual show. The collaborative mural is a first time event. So we're looking forward to the response. I think it's been pretty good so far, and maybe it's something we continue to do. We want to have a partnership with the city of Conroe, do what we can to support Conroe's efforts, and it's an ongoing effort to bring people into particularly downtown Conroe. Give them a reason to come here, whether it's to sip and stroll and go to various restaurants and pubs and pop into the Conroe Art League, or to shop at one or the other businesses here. It's very important in a support effort to help the city meet its mission to become a destination. Come into the beautiful Conroe Art League Gallery. We have world-class art here. It's supported by its members. We have a beautiful courtyard. You can grab a cup of coffee, a bottle of water, sit down, relax, enjoy, and then, of course, look at the beautiful art on the walls.
Start nuking the popcorn and pouring the champagne, because it's only 9 minutes, a little less, until we start handing out the awards. And now here's a video of a very special member of the Conroe Art League.
My name is Deborah Riley, and I'm a member and artist with Conroe Art League, and I also work part-time as the gallery manager here in the Madeley Gallery. Yeah, I kind of love both sides of it. I don't think a lot of artists are that way, but I actually love the business side of art as well as the creative side. So it's a lot of fun to be able to do both here. I always loved art, but I was never serious about it. I saw my mother become an artist in her 40s, was when she started. She turned out to be really good, and she taught and had a lot of years with her painting. But I didn't get a strong interest in it until I was forced to find something else to do. I was a big tennis player, and I had some injuries where I couldn't play anymore, and suddenly I had all this free time, so I decided to take art lessons. And so that's how I got started painting. So I use oil mainly because it's the only thing I've ever really tried to do, and I feel comfortable with it, but I don't feel like I'm accomplished yet in that medium, so I don't really want to branch out. I like to focus on learning one specific thing. And I paint mainly realistic, so I don't branch off into abstract or impressionism. I feel like I'm still trying to learn to do that realism. It's such a hard question to answer when someone asks you how important art is, because it means so many different things to different people. But I just think you have to have that creative outlet. You need something that puts your imagination to work, something that sends a message. It's an activity that can be calming, it's an activity that can be exciting. And I think today people need something that's not electronic to do. And so the hands-on, actually creating something with your own two hands, I think is important for people. Yeah, it's surprising the number of people that don't know what's in downtown Conroe. First off, there's this great historic area of these buildings that have been here since 1911, we're in one of those historic buildings. Once you get down here, then you find out that there's this great little art gallery tucked in the middle of a few restaurants and a few antique stores. And not only do we have the gallery, but we've got this great classroom space, and we have these incredible teachers, members that are so accomplished, but we also have brand new artists, we have programs for children. It's just such a wide range. I think anybody that's looking for something that they can get involved in, it's just worth the trip down. I think they'll find it here.
Time flies when you're having fun. It's only 5 minutes until the awards start getting handed out. We appreciate the time you spent watching these last 30 minutes worth of videos with us. We've got one more for you. So sit back, relax, enjoy this final video about Mural Day, and then get ready for some awards.
As a part of the 2021 Cal National, we partnered with nationally recognized wildlife artist Vicki McMillan Hayes to create a collaborative mural that speaks to the history of the city of Conroe. As a wildlife conservation artist, Vicki is closely attuned to the cycles in life as she shifts back and forth between her quiet time alone in the studio creating art and her interactions with others through their collaborative events and outreach programs such as our special event to create and present a large mural. The public was invited to join this collaboration on March 8th in 4 groups of 10 artists throughout the entire day. Each person painted a part of this beautiful Conroe-themed mural. It was a great day of collaboration, and those that worked on the piece included children, teenagers, and adults. And even Conroe's downtown manager, Frank Robinson, City Administrator Paul Vergadamo, and Mayor Jody Tchaikovsky.
Thank you guys, and this is beautiful, and we need your help. So I'm probably looking at future mayor, future governor of Texas, future president of the United States.
We look forward to presenting this piece to be permanently displayed in one of the city's buildings where it can be viewed by the public for years to come. Thanks to all who participated. The mural will be on display in the Conroe Art League Gallery through the end of March 2021. The Conroe Art League's national call for entries for the 6th annual Cal National closed with 615 pieces of art from 34 states across the nation. Congratulations to the 64 finalists. The Cal National has grown into one of the premier shows in Texas in 6 very short years. This year, the Cal National is supported by the National Endowment for the Arts as part of their Artistic Enrichment in American Communities program. The exhibit runs through April the 1st. Thank you for your support of the Conroe Art League.
The stage is set, the guests assembled, the videos watched, and the awards ready to get handed out. On with the show, this is it. Please join me in welcoming our Master of Ceremonies tonight, Ken Roy.
May I have your attention, please? Yes, we may be a victim of our own success here. What a crowd, what a crowd. And so glad you're here. And I think we did the best we could on the video and the interview. So now let me say again, good evening. Welcome to the Conroe Art League and to the reception for the Cal National 2021 Jury Show. My name is Ken Roy. I'm the president of the Art League. We're so happy you're here with us tonight in the best little art gallery in historic downtown Conroe. Yes. And just like we rehearsed it. And glad you're with us tonight so you can appreciate all the art on the wall and you can meet some of the artists, and we're going to get at some point, of course, to the awards announcements. And here's basically how it's going to go tonight. You see this beautiful mural behind me. In a moment, I'm going to introduce the artist. We're going to talk about the mural, and we're going to make a presentation of the mural to the city of Conroe. Okay? And then we'll get on to the announcements of the winners. But before we get to the main event, so to speak, I do have to recognize, as always, a certain group of people that planned and made this happen. And the first person is the chair of shows and exhibitions, George Brown. There's a fan right there. My fan club. The chair of shows and exhibitions, and I'll introduce, they're not all here, the members of his team. The team leader is Brett Hall, former president, now officially the past president. And then other team members are Connie Bramlett, Ed Gorman, who's not here, Beth Hall, Marilyn Lowry, Brenda McDougall, Brenda's here, yes she is, Deborah Riley, Deborah's here, and I want to also recognize the marketing firm of Westfall Harrison, who did a lot of the design for videos as well as the print. And then, yes.
I know who won.
Okay, and then Sean Thompson of 3D Creative Concepts Creations, who's doing our live stream.
Thank you.
This is a first for us, by the way. So we'll have a talk after the whole event to say, so how do we do better? We did good. How do we do better next time? So that's the members of the team. Now the hardest challenge for this show, in my opinion, is looking at over 600 pieces of art and trying to narrow that down. The judges were given a parameter of 50 to 75 pieces that they could choose. You know, when they chose those, actually they chose 64, then they got to get to the winners. I know of no one more qualified to make that decision than our two judges, one of whom is with us tonight, Heidi Vaughn.
Yay!
Thank you for coming, Heidi. Heidi met with a group earlier, about 4 o'clock, to talk art. What else? Huh? And the other judge could not be with us tonight, but Sherry Singh Hill. She's a fine artist, exhibits at the Archway Gallery in Houston, and she's also...
See that? Now it's working.
She's also a practicing architect. We're going to have canned laughter and canned applause. That's great. Just like TV. So thank you both to the judges for doing that big job. So behind me, you've seen it, this beautiful mural. It's a collaborative community mural. You might have seen the video, even if maybe the sound didn't come through loud and clear. But this collaborative mural was created as part of the show, made possible by the National Endowment for the Arts through its Artistic Enrichment in American Communities grant. And with that, we went out and asked, and I'll ask Vicki to say a few words in a moment, but Vicki McMillan Hayes. Vicki is a member of the Conroe Art League, and she's an internationally acclaimed wildlife conservation artist, an educator, and also a collaborative muralist. And she designed this beautiful piece of work, and she had about 40 people coming into the gallery one day, adults, teens, preteens, the mayor of Conroe, Jody Tchaikovsky, city manager Paul Bergadamo, downtown manager Frank Robinson, all came in. Can't tell you which brush strokes they got, but they've got their mark on there. So we had this collaborative mural, and we had a big collaboration putting this together. And of course, Conroe, Texas. Vicki, if you'd like to say a few words, and then I'm going to make the presentation to the city of Conroe. I think I forgot to mention that piece, but that's the plan. Would you like this one or this one?
I'll do the other.
Okay.
Some of you may or may not know, I have essential tremors and I shake all the time, so I can't hold the mic or you'd be seeing it like this. I just really enjoyed my time with the community. I think that when you can engage the community at large in the arts, and it may be somebody who's never painted before, or someone who is older and can't hold a brush and it's very similar to like me and has like a tremor, you can still add your touch to the piece and feel like that you participated. We had as young as 6 years old painting on this piece, and as old as 80, around 80 years old, painting on the piece. The piece actually was outlined in some of the areas as I used like bathroom caulking to outline it, and I used joint compound and Gorilla Glue, mix it together to create this wonderful texture on the background, and it creates some depth to the piece. So when I came here, the piece was outlined, and then people would add their stroke, and they'd paint for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and sometimes it was 3 or 4 hours. So we had a really good time. I got to meet a lot of people, and I think it's a great way that we can contribute to the community at large and show something that we did together. So thank you very much for letting me come along.
Thank you, Vicki. And when the city officials came in, I think it was Paul Bergadamo, the city manager, said, we want that. And so we made arrangements to make a presentation. And if you don't know this, we reside in this beautiful building at the pleasure and the generosity of the city of Conroe. So we want to support everything they do to expand the visibility of downtown Conroe and get people into downtown and support the businesses and see everything that we have to offer. They're trying to grow it, and we also want to support their community outreach programs. So indebted to the city of Conroe, and tonight from the city, we have two officials, Councilwoman Marcia Porter and Mayor Pro Tem Raymond McDonald. I would offer either or both. Marcia, you said if you made some comments, you'd like me to bring the mic, and Mr. McDonald, if you'd like to make comments.
I don't know that I need it. I was a basketball coach, so I don't think I need a microphone. I want to tell you what a privilege it is to come and look at such creative pieces of art. Every time I'm in here, I'm just in awe of what people can create. I don't have a creative bone in my body, and so it's just miraculous some of the pieces that you're able to do. We're so proud of our visual arts community. You enrich Conroe so much, both economically and culturally. You are a big part of this community. The city of Conroe is so very proactive in not only the visual arts, but the performing arts. We've purchased a building that in 2 years it will be refurbished, has 11 acres on it. It will enable the visual arts to grow with classrooms, with a place to display all of your art, with a place to display your art for your art competition. Raymond McDonald, our Mayor Pro Tem, has been very active in that. And so economically, we are very supportive of the arts. Let me also say that I'm so glad that the mural was a collaboration of the youngest, I think, was 8, the oldest of 80. And what a wonderful mural it is. The fact that I think it captures the essence of Conroe with the pine trees, which I hope we quit cutting, with the woodpecker, the protected species that we have here, with the train station. As you know, Conroe was called Conroe Switch. It was where a train dropped off, and that was the beginning of the town of Conroe. And certainly the patriotic theme. I thought you captured everything that we hold dear in Conroe. And so I can just say that personally I will be very proud to display this in City Hall in a prominent place. And we are so grateful to the Conroe Art League for providing the culture that we all need here. So thank you very much.
Did you read tonight? Well, I'm a preacher and even more kids, so I'm used to yelling anyhow. But first of all, it's hard to follow Councilwoman Marsha Porter because she was our liaison for 4 years before she was doing this. And Councilwoman 8 years before that. So she's been at this a long time, pushing arts, and to see this here, and it's a joy to be with her here today. And yes, being involved in purchasing property to push forward a center whereby we can see our arts on display, visual arts and all other arts that are here means a lot. I am a songwriter and musician, and so I know about creativity, but when it comes to drawing a stick man without arms or legs, I cannot do that. So I'm in awe of art when I see it. I don't see how you see it and how you do it, but I love, when I look at it, something comes alive inside of me and it attracts me. It's what I want to come to. When I go to cities, I go to museums, and that's what I want to see. And for Conroe to become a city where it is the center for arts in this county and the counties beyond means so much to me, and I know to our mayor and to our entire council. And so thank you for allowing us to be here. And again, Marsha put it so well. It captures everything that we are here in Conroe, and thank you so much, Vicki, for what you've done, and God bless you guys.
We can consider it presented to the city, and this is a put you on the spot question. Do you know which sort of building it's planned for?
I would assume that it's going to go into City Hall. That's what I would think.
I think that's
I think we're going to be in the process of remodeling the first floor.
Yep.
So we will find a prominent place.
Prominent,
yes. Glad to hear that. And I mentioned grants earlier, but I didn't say, I said we reside here at the pleasure and generosity of the city, but they also award us an annual grant each year that we're very grateful for because it helps pay the bills so we can do these shows. So thank you so much. Now for the awards announcements. Tonight completes a process that began in October 2020. That's when the call for entry went out. And so artists had October, November, December to submit their art. Then when the entries were cut off, the images were handed over to Heidi and to Sherry for them to begin judging virtually to pick the pieces that would come here. And I would tell you, I control that piece, so I made sure they didn't see an artist's name. They saw the medium, they saw the statement, they saw the size, but they didn't see the artist's name or where the artist came from. So we tried to maintain some of that, keep that knowledge, so there's lessening the probability of bias in that. So they viewed the art and selected the finalists. The finalists were notified in January. They were given dates. It was in the call to get the art in at some point in February. And then in February, our hard-working display team began to plan and design how are we going to put the art on the wall. And if you haven't figured it out, photography here, mixed media here, and on the tables, painting on that wall, drawing over here. That completed, George and I met Heidi and Sherry on a Sunday. We stayed out of their way and allowed them to walk and talk and take as much time as they wanted, and they did. You know, concentration personified, walking and looking, taking notes, and they made their decisions and we learned of them. Now, that sounds like a smooth, efficient process, doesn't it? Well, it's not. It's not. You remember that winter storm that came through. Yeah, and the immortal lyrics of that poet Frank Zappa, frozen wind began to blow, and it blew across Texas, blew across Texas, and that was at the same time the art was being shipped. We had to close the gallery. It wasn't safe for the docents to drive in. No matter, because the carriers were having a problem, not only getting shipments within the state of Texas, they were having logistical problems getting shipments from outside of Texas into Texas. So it didn't matter if we had the gallery closed, we couldn't get the art. So we closed the gallery, and then the weather started to warm. And one day it got warm enough, I felt it safe to drive in. So on a Wednesday afternoon, I drove into the gallery to take a look. I walked in that door there. What do you think I might have heard? Trickling water, dripping water, nope, full-blown pouring water, coming from the second floor kitchen, coming right down the walls, flooding here, going out to the courtyard. Managed to flood the elevator shaft. We still don't have an elevator. Luckily, none of the interior walls here were injured. None of the art was injured. So I call that a win. And, but I'm standing there, what do I do now? Maybe you have to be a member of the Conroe Art League to know the answer to this question, but when you have a problem here at the Art League, who do you call?
Deborah.
Deborah. So I got on the phone. Deborah, I'm freaking out. And I was like, Deborah, what are we going to do? Deborah took care of it, called the city, called Tammy Rushing at the city. Tammy sends out a crew, they turn it off. Larry and Oscar come out, they diagnose the problem. We get a plumber lined up in a few days, and there you go. So that's what it took to get here. And like I said, yeah. So, I don't know how it got done, but the good news is it got done, and now we're all here tonight. And I'm so happy to see that so many artists that were finalists that were able to come here, and those that can't come here, they're in, what's the proper term, Sean? Virtual rooms?
They're in virtual
rooms. And so I'm going to begin the announcements now, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it by category. First is drawing, then mixed media, then painting, and then photography. For each category, I'll first name the two honorable mention pieces. I'll say first honorable mention. They weren't judged that way. I'm just using that, and I'll introduce them alphabetically. Okay, so there wasn't a ranking first. They're both equal honorable mentions. And then I'll get to the winner of that category. And if the winner is here, got a check here, the amount of $750. That would be my pleasure. And so the winner of each category will have a check of $750, except for the best of show, which will have a check in the amount of $1,500. That will be last, okay? All right, give me 1 second. I gotta get, Deborah, we did so good to get the paperwork organized, and now I think it's here. I took it from there. Okay. So Sean, we're going to be coordinated. We got everybody in a virtual room, and I think the first announcement, drawing, the first honorable mention, I think that artist is here, and that would be Betty Ann Rose for her piece, Wildfires, Hurricanes, Pandemic, What is Next? Betty Ann? Do you want to say a few words, Betty Ann? Come around this way. Come around this way. Say a few words about your piece, maybe the inspiration.
Oh, it's like the inspiration was life in this last year. I don't know if anybody can hear me. However, like all of you, my life changed. And I had to give up the studio, I was working at home, and spending all my time in the garden. So I started drawing. And my piece is actually inspired by squash blossom. And the squash blossom became the devil. And I was feeling so frustrated at the time that that's where the title came from. Yeah, I could not have predicted the snow here in Texas. So thank you. Thank you to the volunteers. Heidi, thank you. And good luck to everyone.
Very good. Okay, the second honorable mention, I know she's here, I met her when she came in. Ellen Ray, second honorable mention for drawing. Ellen Ray for inflorescence. Ellen, I forgot to say, Betty Ann is from Spring, Texas. Ellen is from Houston. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. The inspiration for inflorescence was an article that I was reading about the vascular system of the cerebral cortex, actually. So I just took a little bit of artistic license with it. And I'm always fascinated when I find a place where organic structure mimics another structure across life forms. So I was very happy to relate the floral structure that I was seeing in the vascular system of the cerebral cortex. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've had the two honorable mention. Now we'll announce the first place for drawing and a check for $750. That would go to Wendy Lane of Pflugerville for her piece, The Elephant.
Throwing around.
Lord, these $750 checks are down.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be back in Conroe. For those of you who know, I used to live here for 9 years. So we're near Austin now. So I do miss everybody and I miss the gallery. It's a beautiful place. So thank you very much. And thank you, Heidi. My piece was inspired by a little bit happier times, back when we could travel wherever we wanted and everybody could stand shoulder to shoulder. We had no clue a pandemic was coming. We were in Amalfi, Italy, and it's a pastel painting I did in front of a cathedral. The mother was pretty upset with those little kids jumping up and down those 75 steps, and they would not cooperate. So I did a lot of photography there of the tourists, and it wasn't until I got home about a month later looking through my photos for references, that tiny little elephant and pig by the car wheel. And I knew at that point it had to be an art piece called I had the title before I even did the painting, The Elephant in the Room, because it's this little guy. But anyway, so that was my inspiration. I'm really looking forward to get to travel again and continue that series. Go around the world and take pictures of tourist centers and little children. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to mixed media. And first honorable mention from Bryan, Texas, Darren Hill. Oh, Darren's here. So let's go with Haley. Say a few words for us. Thank you.
You really don't want me in front of the microphone, but I just want to thank everybody for letting us come out. My inspiration is the one with the camera, my wife. As I keep talking about it, I'm going to start crying. But my 9-year-old twins, Darren and David, wait, just say that. I want to thank the Conroe Art League and the various wood turn groups I belong to. They are my inspiration for being better and better because I just like to take a piece of wood that I find on the side of the road and turn it into something that God told me to make. God's my inspiration. I'm going to cry.
We love
you. All right, the second honorable mention in mixed media, multimedia from Richmond, Sarah Marcelli. Sarah says she's attending. If she did, I didn't get a chance to meet Sarah. I took her piece in when she delivered. Sarah here today? No? And she's not attending virtually, I don't think. That I know of, okay. So Sarah Marcelli, first honorable mention in mixed media. And first place in mixed media from Houston, Rick Taylor for Blue Figured Maple Vessel. And I think Rick is virtual. Is he in a room?
Hello, my name is Rick Taylor, and I'm a wood artist. I like to take a piece of wood and open it up, and on the inside a surface is revealed that has never been seen by anyone. And sometimes it's surprising, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's very plain wood, which can be used as a blank canvas to enhance the surface in many different ways. Other times the wood has very interesting colors or grain patterns that can be used to advantage in whatever project you're working on. This particular piece that I entered into the Cal National was a project that I had in mind for several years. And it was a quest to find the wood that would be appropriate to do the project that I had in mind. And it took me about 2 years just to find the piece of wood. I needed a piece of wood that had no defects in it, such as cracks or knots or bark inclusions. Wanted a good, clear piece of wood. To find a piece of wood that is clear in the dimensions that I needed is very difficult. But in addition to being a clear piece of wood, I wanted some interesting grain. And if you look at this vessel, it has a wavy grain pattern to it. It's called curly. We've referred to that as curly wood. And this wood that I found does have the curly grain. The challenge is typically that curly grain only goes into the wood for 2 or 3 inches at the most. Well, in this particular piece of wood, the curly grain goes completely through the wood from the front to the back. That is very, very hard to find, and you could even say that the wood that I used for this vessel is pretty rare, just a rare find in itself. After I made the vessel on my lathe with various wood turning tools to enhance the grain and make it appear more prominent, various shades of blue were applied using an airbrush to enhance the grain patterns, and then it was finished with several coats of lacquer. So it ended up being about a 2.5-year project, 2 years looking for the wood itself and working on the project itself on and off over about a 6-month period. I certainly want to
thank the judges and everyone who was involved in the production of the Cal National exhibition. It's really a wonderful exhibition, and I'm really pleased that I was able to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
The winner for Blue Figured Maple Vessel. Okay, moving on to painting. First honorable mention, John Cole from Nacogdoches for Contemplation. Yeah, we made you work when you come here. You gotta work talk. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to thank the Conroe Art League. This has been just things like this makes it all what it's about, and people. And my piece is documenting people and their identities. And so when I was working at Stephen F. Austin on my master's, my peers kept coming to me and saying, "You've got to get Dr. Grubel." And he's in his 90s, so he's not going to be around much longer. And he's the character. He's an amazing person.
What's the
So ended up, my wife, she set it up with his wife, and we set up a photo shoot, and we ended up doing this, not just do a photo shoot of him, but we got a tour of his Victorian house, which is about 3 stories high, and he's a collector of just stuff. And one is, we took us to it, and he said, "Well, hey, where's your favorite place you like to be?" He says, "Oh, the library." Guys, his library was from floor to ceiling, all 4 walls, with a ladder. And that was his identity. And so, being a scholar, man, I took this opportunity to document, which was a blessing because it was like maybe a year or so later that he passed away. This painting actually, it was my first choice, and so it almost didn't make, because what happened was she found out I was doing, I had taken photographs of it and stuff. She says, "Hey, would you do a painting of it?" So I did, and she chose something else, so I just put it in the closet. And then I came back and I reworked it, and I'm so glad I did. And so thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, second honorable mention for painting is Jeanette Hammerstein from Bloomington, Indiana, and her piece is Call Room Dreams. Jeanette, I don't know if you can hear us, but congratulations.
Hi, I just want to make a couple quick comments about the piece that I have in the show called Call Room Dreams. So the backstory is I'm an emergency medicine physician, and this was painted during the pandemic, and it was somewhat of a cathartic piece, if you can't tell. I painted it as kind of an abstracted self-portrait. I don't do a lot of those, but kind of in the midst of all this, I was thinking a little bit more about my own mortality. So you can kind of gather, there's a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of worry in this piece. I worked through it. I mean, there's a lot of thick paint if you're looking at the painting up close. A lot of paint went into this, a lot of layers. I think I changed the color tone of the background in the call room or the sleep room several times. At one point there was a wolf in the picture. So it kind of went through a lot of different things until it got to this point. And basically I'm just trying to look at that place that many of us have been in, whether you work in medicine or not, which is some sleepless nights, some worry, just a lot of thinking about what's ahead and what was going to happen with this pandemic. And so that's what I was going for. Thanks for taking time to look at this show. It's a great show, and I'm very grateful to be in it. Thank you.
So let me move on to the first place in the painting category. Our own Conroe Art League from the Woodlands, Christine Schneider.
I just wanted to say thank you to Cal and to the jurors, Heidi Vaughn and Sherry Singh Hill, for including me in the 2021 National Show. My piece, Covenants in the Wilderness, was chosen first place in the painting category, and I'm so thrilled and excited with that. So this painting is one in my wilderness series where I try to figure out my own feelings about environment and aloneness. Sometimes our environment can inspire a peaceful solitude. Other times it can feel desperately lonely. In this painting, I explore relationships and loneliness. We see different relationships in this painting: father-son, mother-daughter, friendships, marriage. What I've learned is when we put any of these relationships above our own understanding of ourselves, our own value, then we are doomed to feel lonely when those relationships don't live up to our impossible expectations. But when we keep our minds and hearts focused on the bigger truths like you are always enough, always worthy, love is love, and for me as a Christian, that God is always good, I am always loved, and He has good plans for my life. A quote that I keep in mind while painting is by French author André Gide. Art is a collaboration between God and the artist, and the less the artist does, the better. And I feel that with this painting, God blessed me with better understanding of the relationships in my life, and I hope the viewer finds comfort in it as well. Thank you so much, and I hope you get to see the show.
Okay, moving on to photography. First honorable mention from Louisville, Georgia, Zach Bohannon. Title of this piece, photography, States Between. Is that over there? He's not in virtual. Okay, so moving on to the second honorable mention in photography would be Steve Knight from Baytown for Mauricio Happened By. Steve Knight.
So, thanks to the Art League of Baytown, I'm a member of the Art League of Baytown, pardon me. Thanks to the Conroe Art League for having this show, and I want to thank them for appreciating photography as an art and having this much really great photography on this wall over here. This is an excellent exhibition of art in general, but as a photographer, photography particularly. So thank you, I appreciate it. Heidi, thank you. Thanks for selecting my work.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, first place photography is virtual as well. From Pensacola, Florida, Don Manderson for his piece, Oblivion Lounge. Oblivion Lounge, right, Mrs. Hill and the twins are standing.
Oblivion Lounge was inspired by the pandemic, and more specifically, the difficult choices individuals made in their response to the pandemic. Ambivalence seems to be a prevailing mental state of individuals that actually accept the existence of the crisis. There is dichotomy resulting from an acknowledgement of visceral human instincts to operate as social beings and to exercise our most distinctive attribute as a species, language, and simultaneously acknowledgement of the requirement to act intellectually and scientifically when our species is confronted with a common mortal threat. Individuals have assumed various states of compromise regarding these human attributes. Bars have emerged as the place where these issues are physically confronted and as a topic of political debate and reconciliation. I've attempted to portray the range of individual positions regarding the pandemic through the patrons and proprietors' use of masks in the depicted barroom scene. That is, an individual's approach to wearing a mask below the nose, on the neck, in the pocket, lying nearby on the bar, under the hand on the bar, donning a celebratory and mocking mask on the face, even masks falling from persons as they rise to oblivion. All of these individuals are certainly leaning toward a more visceral response to the pandemic, even when confronted with the various scientific realities on the TV monitors above the bar, and the ascending couple experiencing the potential consequences of denial.
One final one. Finally, the best of your show. and great deal of pleasure. Seen her pieces before, and best of show would be Kate Borshading from Huntsville, Texas, for her piece, Reverie, and it is right there.
Hello. Reverie is about investing in ourselves, our internal lives, and nature during uncertain times. I think about in my work things that I observe on a daily basis. And so where I live, I have access to looking at horses every day. I rent this little house on a ranch. I also think about other artists who've come before me and deal with the horse and rider. So this piece is also a nod back to Marino Marini in his Horse and Rider series. And I'm thinking about during uncertain times or about the pandemic, do we think about the pandemic and uncertainty, or do we reinvest ourselves back into nature and things that are really inviting and beautiful and enticing? And so that's the path I go down, and I develop that through layered metaphors in the piece. So thank you so much for the award. That was amazing. I had absolutely no idea. I was totally blown away. I don't think I've ever won a Best of Show, so I'm totally grateful. Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful and excited to participate in this show. Again, thank you once more. Bye.
Let me do a shout out to our hospitality crew. And that would be Will Schneider Catering. Marshmallow roast, backyard barbecues. Will Schneider does it all. Will Schneider Catering. No, doesn't do all.
There's no catering.
Just Will Schneider and some help. But thank you for all you do, Will, for the hospitality. And then Mary Williams has told me to remind you that we are bringing catalogs of the show down. You can take the show home with you. How about that? So once again, Kate Borshading, she'll have it at the front table. Kate Borshading, Huntsville, Texas. Reverie. Yes, ma'am? And that concludes the show. Thank you again for coming.